Here we are at Pompeii, and we're just entering the gates of the city that was destroyed by Mount Vesuvius in one of the great volcanic eruptions. Over the last 100 years, this city has been excavated, and we see what happened in the twinkling of an eye when an entire city was destroyed by the mighty hand of God. The story of Pompeii is the story of real people in the midst of a very real judgment. In here, we see statues to the various gods, Corinthian columns that were part of the civic life here. And this is something I find especially interesting. You see that part of the life of Pompeii was the life of the gladiators. Right here in the middle of one of the best preserved colosseums in all of ancient Rome, you can imagine the gladiators coming in and saying, "We who are about to die salute you." You can imagine them coming in to feed the bloodlust for entertainment, which was part of the life of ancient Rome and its citizenry. It's an incredible thing to be standing right here in the great Colosseum, one of the 7 modern wonders of the world. Why is it that Christians are so insistent that things like the gladiatorial events do not perpetuate?
There is a great verse in the Bible, Romans 5:21, that says, "Where sin abounds, grace abounds all the more." And as terrible and as powerful for evil as human depravity is, God's saving grace can override and overcome the worst and the most evil depravity in a culture.
This isn't just any museum, this is the British Museum, the greatest collection of antiquities anywhere in the entire world. Bill, we're standing here in front of one of the most important code breakers in all of archaeological history. This is the Rosetta Stone.
One of Napoleon's soldiers on campaign in Egypt found this stone, which had Greek translation, which makes it easy to understand. Through this stone, we were able to unlock the secrets of ancient Egypt and be able to read hieroglyphics.
This is the home of the great Lady Catherine Willoughby. It was here that John Smith, that would come to America, grew up as a boy. It was here that Hugh Latimer, a man who would later be martyred, preached over a wintertime here, sharing the gospel of grace.
The Huguenot artists getting expelled from France had a big influence upon English architecture. The English Renaissance style was tempered by Protestantism. They didn't go to the extremes that the Rococo period did in Italy.
We're in the mine and the counter mine at St. Andrew's Castle. This is the place that was built during siege warfare. One group is mining out this way, the other group is mining this way. They're going to meet each other in the middle. You really have a sense of how short quarters, small quarters it all is in here. Bill and I are heading down to take a look at this.
We had the classical Roman architecture. Then after that, we moved into any period of Gothic architecture. It's perpendicular Gothic, and perpendicular Gothic emphasizes the height to create this majestic feel.
And now here we are in front of Rabat de Bruce, in front of Stirling Castle. This is a big, huge, massive castle.
Wallace and his army surrounded the castle and laid siege to it. Edward came to relieve the siege, and the battle actually was fought just outside the town over the bridge at Stirling.
And this now is the beginning of what we call the killing time. This is why we have the marker to the martyrs, because of what will take place at this time. The 20,000 Christians, men, women, and children, put to the sword. Their stories were not unfamiliar to the people that were drugged into this Greyfriars Kirkyard. A continual theme we've looked at is the willingness not just of adults, but of children to lay down their lives for the gospel.
They believed that Christ had instructed them on how he wanted to be worshiped. They had signed a covenant in blood that they would live by those principles and defend them. And when those principles were subverted and overthrown by a foreign power, they stood strong. They wouldn't compromise, and they paid for it with their lives.
My favorite thing about this trip was remembering our forefathers and remembering that the Reformers were our forefathers and that we're connected in that godly line by God's providence.
Well, we have had the great opportunity to see not only the effects of sin, but the effects of righteousness.
The nations change, but the fundamental issues of men never do change. At the end of the day, the fundamental issue is, who is sovereign? Is it man or is it the Lord Jesus Christ?